New team nicknames in the Appalachian League. What are they, and are they any good? Hi everybody, I'm Marky Billson, and I'm happy to say that, yeah, they are pretty good. There are no atrocious nicknames. There's no Utah Jazz here. There's no Miami Heat, nothing like that. You know, the thing about nicknames that I like, they should not sound like a Major Indoor Soccer League franchise. If you remember the Major Indoor Soccer League with the Cleveland Force and the Pittsburgh Spirit. And I hate those kind of team nicknames. If you are going to name a team, have it end in an S, and there are some exceptions. I mean, Chicago White Sox ending in an X. I mean, okay, fine. That's, North Carolina State Wolf Pack. It's plural. It works, But we don't want the New Orleans Knight, which I think is the absolute worst team nickname I have ever heard. And the New Orleans Knight, they were an old arena football franchise. Now, when I say New Orleans Knight, don't think that I'm saying the New Orleans Knights. Like, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, like you're in a suit of armor on a horse with a sword in your hand or something like that. No. I mean, the sun goes down and there are stars in the sky Knight. New Orleans Knight. Worst team nickname I've ever heard. There's a modern trend in baseball now to get too cutesy with nicknames. I don't really like these. There were the Florida Fire Frogs. There's a team called the Trash Pandas that I have actually put out of my mind where they are located because I just think Trash Pandas is a trashy nickname. Look, I don't have any problem with modern nicknames. There are a few nicknames in this list so far that are modern, but I do not, like when you're trying too hard. Trash Pandas sounds like a fad. It sounds like here today, gone tomorrow. And so therefore, yeah, these nicknames, it should be said the Appalachian League, when they were an affiliated minor league baseball league, they were the only league that played in towns that had the clubs take on the parent club's nickname. Now, there were a few exceptions historically to that rule, but by and large, and for the last, 30 years or so, the teams of the Appalachian League all took their parent club's nicknames. Not really all that original. And that was just something that isn't happening in minor league baseball anymore. So in some ways, this is overdue as the Appalachian League goes from a professional baseball league to a college wooden bat league for freshmen and sophomores in college, and they will graduate to the Cape Cod League, which is for juniors now. Let's talk. There are 7 teams that have been named in the Appalachian League. There are 10 teams altogether. We'll get to the ones that haven't been renamed in a second. But first, let's go right to the best team nickname of the lot. I love this name, the Johnson City Doughboys. And I've got a friend from Florida that as soon as he heard, what, Johnson City Doughboys? He wanted me to get him Johnson City Doughboys gear. Now, by the way, if you don't know, in 1997, I was the Johnson City Cardinals play-by-play broadcaster for WKPT-AM. But nevertheless, Doughboys is a really good nickname. History of the Johnson City Cardinals, before they were affiliated with Major League Baseball teams, prior to 1937, team was called the Johnson City Soldiers, had a lot to do with the Veterans Administration in Johnson City. This brings back those memories, okay? Just makes it more modern. If a doughboy can be called modern, but you get what I'm trying to say. It is actually named, though, they say, to remind you of that old nickname, but there is a Doughboy statue within the vicinity of the ballpark in which the Doughboys play. Now, it used to be in front of the main entrance to Roosevelt Memorial Stadium, the old football field in Johnson City, but that was torn down several years ago, and the statue, however, remains. And it's like I said, you go, there's the statue, here's the post office, here's the ballpark, basically. So that statue also has a lot of meaning to me, because I remember the first time I ever saw it, and I said, oh, let's check this out, younger man and all this. And I remember reading the plaque on the Doughboy statue in Johnson City, and it said this is to honor the veterans of the World War. The statue dates back to 1935. The World War. I remember reading that, seeing 1935, and just thinking, oh my goodness, they had no idea. And it shook me. I mean, this is a great nickname. That's all I can say. Another real good nickname, the Bristol Stateliners. Now, I once theorized that I would like to have seen the team renamed the Bristol Boarders. If you don't know, Bristol's in two cities. Listen to me, they're not in two cities, they're in two states. I'll get it right. Tennessee and Virginia. Bluefield, also in the Appalachian League, is in two states. Get that, West Virginia and Virginia. It's one of those towns like Kansas City. That's what I'm trying to say. In two states. And, two towns in the Appalachian League that are in two states. Bristol officially is on the Virginia side. So they call the team the Stateliners. 100 years ago, that was the nickname of the Bristol Appalachian League franchise. They're bringing it back. It's a good nickname. Like I said, I would have kind of liked Bristol Boarders after State Street, but I'm not going to war for Bristol Boarders when basically the same nickname, just not the phonetics, and there's history to it. The Bristol Stateliners. Yeah, I'm good with that. I like it. Also, the Greenville Flyboys down in Greenville, Tennessee. Now, I thought maybe, Andrew Johnson, 17th President of the United States, from Greenville, Tennessee, why not call him the Taylors? Because Andrew Johnson was a tailor. But Flyboys is good, too. Pioneer Park is on, from what I understand, an old airfield. So, therefore, the ballpark being on an airfield, they call the Greenville team, which plays in Tusculum, Tennessee, actually, the Flyboys. And it brings back some memories to me of the Lakeland Flying Tigers, the Detroit Tigers, Florida State League affiliate, A-ball affiliate. In Lakeland, Florida, Joker Marchant Stadium, where the Tigers have had their spring training home since the mid-30s, I think since 1935, that actually has some history as an airfield itself. And there were barracks there for former pilots, this sort of thing. So the nicknames Greenville Flyboys, Lakeland Flying Tigers really come from about the same place. Airfield, barracks, that sort of thing, on the vicinity of the ballpark at one time. I like the nickname. Announced today, February 5th, 2021, Kingsport would be called the Axemen. When I grow up, I want to be an Axeman. I'm okay with this. Sounds like a guitar player, doesn't it? Or a horror movie villain. But no, in actuality, it is named after Daniel Boone's helpers, the Axemen, who helped cut the wilderness trail out west. And they did it in the vicinity of Kingsport, Tennessee, so it has something to do with the name, with Kingsport. Okay, it's plural, doesn't end in S, but it's plural. Axemen. I like it. I think it's good. Elizabethton. The River Riders. You see, the Watauga River goes through Elizabethton, Tennessee, and they thought, let's, celebrate people who like to fish. That's actually what they said. Let's call them the River Riders. And that does kind of lean just a little bit to that, fire frogs type of thing, but not all the way. Not all the way. It's a good nickname. I mean, you call them the Riders as a secondary reference. That's pretty good. I mean, if you really wanted to do the fishermen, why not, the Nittany Lions or Mountain Lions on Mount Nittany near State College, Pennsylvania? Why not, the Watauga Fishermen? If that's what you really wanted to honor, but Watauga Fishermen, that's tough to spell, that's tough to say. No one was going to say Watauga, they'd just call them the Fishermen, which, okay, that works too, but River Riders. All right, I'm not going to go to war to stop the River Riders. It's a decent nickname. Outside of the Tri-Cities, Tennessee area, 2 teams in the Appalachian League have announced nicknames. The Burlington Sock Puppets. This one I'm not crazy about. Now, it's to honor the textile heritage of the Carolinas, and of course, Burlington is in North Carolina. Oh, yeah, fine. That's what you tell me, fine. Nobody, though, likes to be called a puppet. The puppet regime. I mean, that's just a little bit... This isn't the worst nickname I've ever heard. The sock puppets. Not every nickname has to be the aggressive killers. Sock puppets works, in that regard. I mean, it's a little cute. I'll give you that. It's not as bad as trash pandas. I mean, a sock puppet. That's a tangible item, Still, though, I don't know. It seems to be going just a little too far from textile industry to sock puppets. But, again, it's not the worst nickname I've ever heard. Okay, I could give you, I mentioned 2 teams in the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oh, gosh. Oh, it's awful. There's so many more horrible NBA nicknames. And for that matter, hockey is getting there. The Seattle Kraken. Oh, gosh. The Pulaski River Turtles. This isn't the worst nickname I've ever heard. It does make me think, Pulaski really is not going to steal that many bases, are they? But, Maryland Terrapins. Pulaski River Turtles. What is Pulaski, Virginia known for? Right? Well, here's the deal. There are evidently 21 different kinds of turtles that are native to the Old Dominion, the Commonwealth of Virginia. So, in that regards, turtles have become something of a hip animal, I suppose, and all that. A lovable animal, this sort of thing. They live forever, don't they? At least the big ones in the lakes and the seas. But, the Pulaski River Turtles. Okay, I'll go with this secondary nickname, Turtles. I mean, that's a legitimate mascot, right? A turtle. It's an animal. It's a decent nickname, It's a heck of a lot better than Tampa Bay Lightning. Can't you call them the Lightning Bolts? When I grow up, I want to be a Lightning. Now, if you said, I want to be a Bolt, that kind of works, but just... 3 cities in the Appalachian League have yet to rename their franchise. Bluefield, West Virginia, will announce their new nickname on February the 16th, so in 11 days from the recording of this video. Princeton hasn't, to my knowledge, announced their nickname yet, Princeton, West Virginia. The Princeton baseball team used to be known as the Patriots about 30 years ago. That's when it had an affiliation with both the Pirates and the Reds. It was a co-op team. They had players from both the Pirates and Reds on the team. This is circa 1990 or so about 30 years ago. I don't know if they'll go back to that like Bristol did with State Liners, but it's just something to keep an eye on, And Princeton Patriots sounds pretty good. I kind of like that. There is, however, the New England Patriots, there's the Somerset Patriots, and, it's another minor league baseball team in the independent circuit, so whether or not they'll be able to get away with it with copyrights, who knows, but there you are. There's the Sullivan East Patriots in Bluff City, Tennessee. It's a fairly common nickname, and it works. It has the happy accident of alliteration, right? Danville, Virginia doesn't have a team nickname yet. Now, some interesting things about the history of baseball in Danville, Virginia. There was once a team called the Danville Leafs, but they're not going to go back to tobacco farming for a nickname for the Danville franchise. That just isn't going to happen. 1998, there was a baseball team in a Carolina league. They had to have a temporary home for 1 year. They played in Danville, and it was called the Danville 97s. And this is kind of interesting because it stemmed from the wreck of the old 97s of train lore, I guess fatal train crash in 1903. Why you would be naming yourself off of a train crash is another story entirely, but, there's a team, the Calgary Flames, used to be the Atlanta Flames. That's after Sherman burns the town, right? So okay, you know. And Flames is kind of universal, so it works well in Calgary, even though it has some this belongs to the history of our town in Atlanta, where the franchise began. But the wreck of the old 97. So could it be the Danville 97s going forward in the new Appalachian League? Who knows? Just something to look for. But that's it. Pretty good nicknames. Pretty good nicknames. NBA, you could learn something from these nicknames. NHL, yes, absolutely. So, the Appalachian League, getting it right. Folks, I'm Marky Billson. I ask that you like me on YouTube, also Rumble. I'm putting these videos on Rumble now. And I also ask that you follow me on Twitter. It's at BillsonMarky, 2 L's in Billson. I got a Gab page now. And Medium, that's another thing where you can read what I have to say. So until next time, I'm Marky Billson.